Well, it's another Lunch and Learn. And today I'm hoping that all of my technology is working perfect. I got a very different setup today using StreamYard. So I'm pretty happy that this is happening. And we're going to bring in a guest. Glenn, welcome to the party.
How are you? How are you?
We are doing great. And so it's a Pasch brother tag team conversation, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about rethinking local marketing, and that's going to be a really important topic. And we can't wait to tackle these topics. So if you are interested in this conversation, would you go ahead and say hello? Say hello to us right now. I'm looking for the comments. I want to see who's with us today for Lunch and Learn agenda. Glenn, these are 6 really important things that we've been working on with dealers around the country. How important has it been for dealers to understand these 6 things?
It's been huge. It's been really, well, let's see that it's huge because it's going to help them get to where they want to go.
Right.
I think for most of the conversations that we've had with dealers when we first sit down with them and start talking about this is they wouldn't even have thought about a few of these. And that was the interesting one where we've had dealers say, that's something, never would have thought about that. Oh, right. That's super important. So I think it's really, it's these 6, and this is just the start, but these 6, I think, are the ones that are going to get you off on the right path.
Great. And Kevin and Bo and Dee Dee and Paul DeVries from Holland. Holland's in the house. We love that.
Paul.
Come on, let's do it. Hey, so before you do any heavy thinking, I want everyone to think about the great live stream conference that we have coming up in July. Here is a great quote from Greg Sarkisian from the Coulter Automotive Group out in Colorado. And he was really pleased that we had the opportunity now to have an event that was completely absorbable in his own time. And I really love that fact that he felt so strongly about it. We have an amazing collection of speakers lined up for the event, and you can save money on your ticket by using the code PCG20. And we have a special bonus going on this week. Anybody who's a dealer or dealership manager that purchases a ticket, they can pick from one of the 2 awesome books that we have lined up. Glenn, how excited are you that DMSC is going to be virtual this year?
You know, when we first talked about it, and we're interviewed for the Canadian Dealer Magazine, and we talked about how it happened was we were more talking about, well, what's going to happen in July in Napa. And then you and Carrie called up and said, we're going virtual. And it was very exciting because I have a few other friends who are in the speaking business who are tailoring their presentations to virtual as well. I'm getting more and more excited as it goes on because of comments like Greg's, who said, I wouldn't have been able to come, let alone forget even the lockdown. Just normally dealers are usually struggling with that fight of, if I leave the dealership, can I take many people? I want to go, but I can't. I'm just excited because the technology of being able to still maintain a lot of the event itself, from networking, being able to do the workshops, to the virtual wine tasting, which again blew my mind. Jason, I got my shipment of wine, and Jason Moore did a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah, he did a great packaging, and there's so much that we're going to be, tackling. And I wanted to give everyone a little sneak peek today about rethinking their local marketing. Hey, if you're watching on the live stream, hey, just say hello. And what is one thing that you learned during the lockdown or COVID that changed your marketing strategy? That's what I want to talk to everyone today. Really, I want you to think about these 6 things. remote retailing, brand message and promise, merchandising strategy, advertising channels, assist versus chase, and don't kill the messenger. So I'm going to go into some of these topics right away, and we need to go quickly because everyone's on their lunch. So let's talk about remote retailing just for a minute. There are so many companies that are selling digital retailing or modern retail or remote retailing technology, and new players are coming on the market all the time. But here's the first hard-hitting truth, and can I get an amen from anybody in the audience who's watching? Most digital retailing companies have a weak spot, and it's in branding and merchandising. Hey, Bob, welcome to the Lunch and Learn. Most digital retailing companies have excellent technology that helps a consumer calculate the affordability of a vehicle, and some differentiate themselves differently through OEM integrations, or whether they're embedded in the website, over top of the website, or a replacement for the website. But what Glenn and I have observed is that most dealers have a blind spot when they purchase digital retailing tools. They think the digital retailing company is going to solve the transformational issues that are associated with digital retailing installations. And again, if you're watching and you are considering digital retailing, here's one thing you're going to know. If you're a dealer, the digital retailing company wants to avoid conflict with you. And I'm going to prove that to you, that digital retailing companies want to provide the tools, but they're not going to call your baby ugly. Digital retailing companies are going to help you make the consumer transaction easier, but they're not going to tell you that your brand message is horrible. They don't have that type of backbone. And that's not a mean statement. I'm just saying I've seen it over and over again.
But I don't know, and this is the one thing, and I think it's what you touched on, and I think we have to not skip over that, is that dealers, the perception that that company is going to provide you with marketing ideas or branding ideas beyond the technology of getting it to function and work and be able to make it within parameters, they're not going to do that, nor are they equipped or built for that. That's not. So again, I want to make sure everyone's not going, oh, well, the digital retailing companies are failing at this.
No, we're not picking
not their job. But Brian's point is, a lot of dealers assume they are, right, and are disappointed.
That's right. Hey, Bob Lanham from Facebook, Bob Sherman, welcome. So here's my proof that digital retailing companies have a blind spot in branding and merchandising. Here's my simple litmus test. Do consumers know where to click and what will happen next? Okay. Now here's my example. I'm calling this Joseph's Technicolor Dream Coat. Okay. And you'll see why in a minute. Here's a dealer who reached out to a digital retailing company, and of course they added the digital retailing button to the website. There it is. Look at that amazing VDP design. Now let's break it out. Let's count how many colors are. Now, by the way, this isn't the whole VDP. This is just the math block. Anybody comments on this? Okay, a green, an orange, red, dark blue, gray, yellow, another different shade of blue, and another different shade of blue. So this is Joseph's Technicolor Dream Coat. This fails any website design, yet the company who installed the digital retailing experience didn't have any backbone to say, hey, wouldn't you want more people to use this experience? Wouldn't you want the consumers to drive through this digital retailing tool? Yes, that's why I want to embrace digital retailing. Okay, let's go back and take a look then. Well, then why are you using a different pre-approved application that goes off to a page that was actually broken? Hey, Steve Rosser, why are you using TrueCar Trade when your payment calculator tool, your digital retailing tool, uses a completely different value. I'm like, what? But there's more. How about this one? Again, I'm not picking on anybody, but here's a company that installed the digital retailing tool. Now notice this, up in the right-hand side, the dealer's name has been anonymized, but look, it says sale price in big letters, sale price. And then the next call to action is get the sale price. Do you think consumers are like, what? Why would I get the sale price? The sale price is there. And then on the upper left, really light, you hardly can even see it. It's confirm availability. And then get pre-approved, going to yet another approval tool, check availability, which is similar to confirm availability. Oh, it's the same thing. But the digital retailing experience is personalize my payments. It has no color violator. And yet I don't think the digital retailing company said, Mr. Dealer, you have wasted the consumer's time if you're going to pop up all these forms. Don't we want to get them through the tool? Here's another one, which I'm going to call monochrome Mike. This is monochrome Mike. Again, this is just a payment block, let alone all the other stuff that's popping up on this page. Their digital retailing experience is the unlock lowest price in payments. Confirm availability, pops up a stupid form. Schedule test drive, pops up a stupid form. Ask a question, pops up a stupid form. Get financing, goes to a completely different tool. View description is right in front of the rise. I'm on a desktop. The description of the vehicle is right there. And call us. Forced or attempted to do a FaceTime call, which most people wouldn't do on a desktop.
So let me ask you then, just
Sure.
to be the other side of it. I'm a digital retailing company.
Yeah.
And I come to a dealer and I see that page and I put it on there. Do you think, one, that it could be that the digital retailing company is going to say, going back to that, a couple of spots ago, you don't need, in that example, you don't need TrueCar. You don't need this. You don't need. Now all of a sudden, people in the industry are hearing Glenn's digital retailing tool is in there saying, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Is that, or should they, in your mind, just be asking or presenting questions for the dealer to think about versus get rid of, get rid of, get rid of?
Listen, here's what I'm trying to communicate in today's Lunch and Learn. And there's just 6 points. We have to move quickly. Is that if you're going to do digital retailing, you need to get more people through it. If you're the digital retailing company, you have to have a backbone to tell a dealer, we need to drive more people through it. We need to stand out. And honestly, they're not doing it. And as a result, it creates a problem. Now, there are two companies that realize that dealers left to their own can't simplify a website. Roadster was an early pioneer, and they just said, listen, dealers' websites are a mess. And so we're going to create our own SRPs and VDP. Apollo, which is the website and marketing platform from Team Velocity, just came out with their Apollo sites. And again, the reason why they created Apollo sites or their website platform is because they were tired. They were tired of working with a dealer, and then they would put in a button, then the button get take off, or they tried to put in their tracking code and the tracking code came off. So we have some huge issues that we're uncovering. And I just want to be very clear that you can, like here at Access Ford, have a clear banner that describes what the button does and then simplify and just have a single button that does the trade, does the finance, does the schedule test drive. And of course, we've had some comments in other Lunch and Learns that having a separate schedule, value my trade button still can be very valuable. We're not going to get into that today, but it's surely not 8 buttons. Now, let's move to brand message and brand promise. Glenn and I have spent a lot of time on this topic for Lunch and Learn, but let me just explain. The brand message is what you're going out to market with to get someone's attention. And when we talk about brand promise, we're talking about what backs up that message. And typically, dealers have used the brand promise as a brag book. Okay. And this is what I mean. These are well worn out brand messages. You can look at any of these. And the truth of the matter is that these brand messages are missing something critical, okay? It's the WIFM, what's in it for me? These do not pass the WIFM test. Glenn, you and I have gone through a lot of exercise with dealers. Why is it so hard for dealers to have a brand promise that actually has value to consumers?
I think it's been a culture of price, and it's been, so price matters, and they've, again, part of it is dealers will say customers only want price, and I will say, well, they do that because we've trained them to ask for price. Going back to your VDP, here's a sale price, but no, now we have another button to get today's price or get another price, and there's a mystery price, so there's always that. I think it's also hard. I just don't know if people understand how to do that, because they think if I'm talking about myself, that's going to attract somebody to me. So it's a good thing like bragging, versus if I think of what do I want to deliver to my customers in terms of the experience. I think what this whole lockdown has really taught us is it's all about the experience. We're getting back to that. So the more that I can explain to you, customer, what the experience is going to be, it no longer is about I won this award, I did this, I won this. It's how am I going to take care of you? And that becomes the brand message.
That's right. So what we've been training dealers is that if you're going to have a remote retailing experience, if you're going to have a modern retail experience, you should call it something. The brand message is the hook that gets consumers to consider them. And then the brand promise should be a list of WIFMs, which is what's in it for me. So here's some examples. Okay. All our cars are clearly priced online in the dealership, online in the dealership for a hassle-free shopping experience. Okay, visit our dealership, or you can shop from home or your office. Ask questions with our virtual sales team via phone, chat, text, or instant Zoom meeting. Complete as much of the buying process online, including valuing your trade, and we'll pick up where you left off when you visit us or when we come to you. Once you decide on a vehicle, we can get the paperwork completed, review the features of the vehicle, get you on the road within an hour, and buy with confidence with our 7-day vehicle exchange program. The key here is that the brand promise elements have to have something of value to the consumer. Once you have a clear brand message that pops and it's backed up with brand promises, then we go to merchandising. And this is where almost every dealer fails. And again, I'd love some feedback from the people who are watching live. But this is my latest cartoon. Do you like it? This is my latest cartoon from my new book that I'm working on completing, and it will be released at DMSC. How many of you have really been frustrated with how many pop-ups? I mean, I went to a dealer's website the other day, and no joke, they had 6 different technologies on their homepage, and it was just really difficult for me to navigate. Things kept on popping up. I had to put them down. And so what we have to teach our dealers is that creating a clear path, a clear expectation, a clear way to go is the way to go. Glenn, you've been working with dealers to create some of these images. I'm going to scroll through them. What's the common theme about them?
Yeah, so what we focused on was the fact that the brand promise, or what you were doing, was ease. It was fast. The images were people were at home, meaning that the shopping experience was on their terms. My new article is coming out tomorrow talking about the appointment culture. For dealers, for years, the appointment was when someone came to the dealership. That's when the process began.
That's right.
With all of this now, through the lockdown and online, the process has started somewhere else. We've allowed the customer to start the process, whatever they want to do, where they are. And then the appointment now is to pick up where they left off. It could be in the middle, could be closer to the end, could be closer to the beginning, or it could be to totally pick up your car. So the appointment has concept has changed, but everything is in their control. And notice, they're sitting at the computer doing it. One click to begin the process. I'm on my phone. So it's no longer needing to come to the dealership to start anything. It's almost coming to the dealership to finish everything.
That's right. And our belief, and someone asked this the other day, how come we recommend banners at the top of SRPs and VDPs? Doesn't that push down the cars? And that's a really good question. But remember, most pay-per-click campaigns run in co-op programs take clicks to the SRP or the VDP, whether it's the right page or not. That's what the traditional strategies are. So at the top of the SRPs and VDPs, if the Fast Pass button is the primary call to action, we want to educate the consumer what that button does. Is Classic Express Lane, because they're right off the express highway in Texas. So if they have that button on the VDP, that's their primary button. What does that do? Well, it does everything that 3 or 4 other buttons did. And then you can have branding banners that are not on SRPs or VDPs that also talk about the experience. And then the buttons should be the focus of attention. So whether it's Easy Pass or Classic Express Lane or Fast Pass, the bottom line is when you call your modern retail process something, and you create a modern brand promise, and then you merchandise your website, you could see a 200, 300, even 400% increase in people who go through the digital retailing tool. And that's really what you want. Bob Lanham brought up great points. That brand awareness plus direct response engagement. We have seen engagement on low funnel advertising increase when a dealer runs a brand campaign at the same time as running a direct response campaign versus just running a direct response campaign. Brand advertising is similar to the in-store meet and greet. The best closers are better openers. Amen to that, Bob. And here's why we're telling dealers they need an always-on Facebook strategy. Because, listen, the always-on Facebook strategy should be communicating the brand promise and the elements that make up that brand promise, because most consumers, out of all things, value time and convenience the most. And so if Facebook is a way to connect with messaging, this is the way to do it. Now, Glenn, we've been having a lot of debates about this concept of assist versus chase. Some people say, Brian, I'm asking them too much. Glenn, when you worked in the restaurant business for 15 plus years in New York, what would happen if someone walked into the restaurant and said, do you have a table available? And they told them, listen, fill out this form and go sit in the corner, and sometime over the next hour, I'll let you know when you might be able to have an appointment.
Well, that depends on if it was a super busy restaurant on a Saturday night and you didn't have a reservation. You might have to wait a little bit. But the point is that the concept of assisting versus chasing is that sense of, we've talked about the virtual dealership. The more I've been doing this and just comparing it to restaurants, if I'm going to a dealership's website and I'm asking questions, I'm interested in something, and you're telling me that this website is staffed with people, or should be. I click on a button and now you're asking me to fill out a form. I'm frustrated. So now what do? Is I go to another website in hope that somebody can answer my question. I don't think people are jumping website to website for better deals. I think they're looking for someone to answer their question. So this concept of assisting them when they're there, yes, versus chasing them down the street, it just makes no sense. It's literally going from store to store to store to say, we're closed, we're closed, we're closed. I got to keep driving around until I find someone who's open, who will help me. And I think that's what really assisting and chasing is about.
That's right. And I posted something today that today's leads that come into your CRM from your website is the list of frustrated customers. Let me say it again. The leads that you receive into your CRM today from your dealer.com, CDK, Dealer Inspired, Dealer eProcess, Dealer on website are the list of frustrated customers because they had a simple question and you didn't want to help them. This form is basically saying there's nobody competent right now to answer your question. Yet, if I walked in the showroom, you had a business model to do it. What we need to realize is that conversational commerce basically says, I'm going to serve people through a channel that they want to use. Now, let's do the math. Less than 40% of the people who click on Get ePrice or Get Today's Price or Get Best Price or Confirm Availability, fill it out. And most of those people, and you can see by this form, let me go back, this form only requires an email address, not a phone number. This is very, very common. Okay, so when you look at the data over hundreds of dealers, of those leads that get completed with a required email address only, dealers speak to less than 50% of those customers via email. And here's the point. Conversational commerce has to be embraced. 2 years ago at DMSC, LivePerson was really the first to coin it. The whole industry is pivoting now, just like people are pivoting to Zoom meeting and live stream events like we're doing. Conversational commerce basically says, let me meet the customer and serve them when they have a question right there and right then. And if you haven't been following the industry, LivePerson has made 2 big breakthroughs. Remember, they handle the most chats in the automotive industry worldwide. And they have some amazing tech. They just announced that Cox Automotive and the dealer.com, Cox Automotive digital retailing platform will now be enhanced with a LivePerson technology and also Roadster, which I've said needed interactive live support tools within the Roadster framework, has now partnered with LivePerson for their tech stack. And here's the reason why. Their tech stack allows consumers to communicate any way they want. But here's the bigger question. Is there a risk in moving from forms to conversations? And I'm just going to show you an example. I've used this before, but this is a fresh deck that I created for today's Lunch and Learn. This is a dealer that last year came to DMSC when it was live in the Napa Valley, heard my conversation about moving from forms to conversations, and he went back to his manager, and this is their website. This is what their VDP looked like over a year ago. They were a one-price store, but due to MAP pricing guidelines, they couldn't show their low price. So their marketing was all about the no bull price, the no bull price, the no bull price. Sadly, with MAP pricing, they couldn't show their no bull price. They wanted to, but the manufacturer wouldn't. So they had this set up where if they clicked the button, it would get no bull price. Now, the consumers did not know that it was going to pop up a form. I bet most consumers thought that that price would change or something would show them on the screen, but a form popped up because that's what the dealer thought they could do to be MAP compliant. He came back and said, boss, we got to change things. The manager was like, no way. This is our number one lead source. We can't change it. Okay. This is what they changed it to. They had 2 buttons, instant no bull price, and then email me the no bull price. Now, let's just be clear that the person who clicks on the lower button, email no bull price, knows that they're going to have to give their email. So there's no surprise there. And guess what happened? The email leads quantity did not go down. In fact, the quality went up because people weren't putting in their bogus secondary email addresses. What blew up was the top button, instant no bull price, and it's staffed by their BDC during normal business hours with real people. And so this is going to be controversial, but here's what I did. I've been testing during normal business hours all of the chat platforms that are used in general. There may be some small companies I haven't tested yet, but the big companies completely failed. I asked simple question, what's the cash price? What's the selling price? And most of the chat companies couldn't even read what was on the website. They were completely disconnected from what page I was on. Even when I gave the stock number, even when I gave the vehicle, they were giving me the wrong information that was on the website. And number 2, None of them, not a single one of them, escalated my question to a manager, although their technology can, which means the management of those dealers didn't treat me like a real customer. And I really think, Glenn, the future is during the day, we need to be able to staff our website when questions come in, that whether it's BDC, sales associates and managers, people are notified in the dealership. There's someone on our website with a question and we answer them so that, oh, what could happen? Listen, double the sales opportunities log in your CRM by month. Glenn, it's amazing, but true. They can do it if they wanted to change their business model. What do you have to say about that?
Well, again, it's data. If you think of, I look at CRM data a lot, and when I'm reviewing it for dealers, and you'll see how many people that are logged as showroom traffic. It is, even for a really busy dealership, I'm going to go and say maybe it's 10, even if I said high side, 20% of the visitors that come to the website. A normal dealership website gets anywhere from 5 to 10. We've seen it 20,000 visitors in a month. Why aren't we staffed for those people when they're asking us questions? I had a dealer say to me, we are an internet-driven company, meaning that, we are not at a place where we get tons of showroom traffic. I said, okay. And so I had this conversation. Why aren't you having, they had the button that said get e-price. I said, why aren't you having that button? When someone clicks it, go to the manager or one of the desk managers that are here that are begging. They're begging to talk to somebody. And we went into analytics, and that button got clicked, I think 800 times. 800 times. I said, wouldn't your managers like to talk to 800 people in a month? That's almost 40 people a day, maybe a little less, depending how many. I'm like, how many of those people do you think you could get those managers to move to an appointment to get in to sell a car? And his eyes just went, I never thought of it that way, because you're not staffing the virtual dealership like you're staffing your showroom. And that has to change.
And Alex Snyder brought up a great point. And Alex, let me hit that. He said, wouldn't it be amazing if the same chat tool on the website was the same tool that dealerships employees were using to communicate to customers? I never understood why the CRM providers did not try to own all one-to-one communication methods. Here's one thing that, Alex, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm wondering the same thing. Here's the reason why. The chat tool, listen, the chat tool has this robust conversation, pushes it into an ADF XML. A lot of that context is lost. It looks like crap. And I was like, why aren't the chat companies, why aren't the digital retailing companies doing deep API integration with the CRM companies? And of course, then there's politics. Here's one thing I do know, and I saw Steve Ressler on the line. Folks like DriveCentric were innovators with integrating video and texting. And I told Steve the other day, I said, Steve, man, you need to be direct API connecting into Roadster, direct API connecting into CarNow and these other tools that are independent, so that when somebody goes back and forth, they're using your communication platform. It's the same one. It's integrated. In a sense, don't let the DR companies lose this opportunity. Now, it's a whole other conversation, but thank you, Alex, for bringing that up, because it has to be a pain point. Let me try to finish up our lunch and learn with advertising channels. A couple things we learned during the COVID crisis. Our customers cut back on advertising. Many of them cut their Google spend down to zero. They left their Facebook spend running, and most of them left their third-party marketplaces in place. What was very interesting then is we had a lot of cleaner data to see how consumers were shopping, how many were naturally going to the portals, and the quality of traffic that was coming to the dealer's website from the portals, instead of everyone trying to bash each other head in paid search. And what was very interesting to see, and we're going to be sharing some of that data at DMSC, that there was very big upticks in engagement in the portals and the quality of traffic that came to the dealer's site. And I'm not going to be a spoiler alert, but here's one other thing we saw. We saw the return on ad spend from Facebook campaigns skyrocket. And here's the reason why. People were on social media, engaging, watching the news. And this is why we're going to talk about at DMSC an always-on Facebook strategy, especially tying this all together, why your brand promise and brand message is the perfect fertile ground for an always-on Facebook strategy, because everyone values time and convenience. And Glenn, we've seen this. Dealers need help with video. And man, have they appreciated the videos that we've been creating for them for their brand promise and brand message that they can use on social media, they can use on Google, YouTube pre-roll, they could use in OTT, they can use in their email marketing. It's almost like video has to be a clear channel to communicate your brand promise.
Absolutely. And where we found the most success was talking about, just going back to it again, it's all about the experience. The car is the car is the car. It's about the experience. So all we were advertising was the brand message of, you can use this tool and we'll pick up where you left off and we are going to take care. We value your time. Everything was about them. And the more we advertise about what's in it for the customer, and that can just run constantly versus worrying about this special, this month. And to Bob's point, when you run them in tandem,
right,
they're building up the value and that trust of, you're going to take care of me. So then when my offer comes out, I connect it and go, well, I'm going to go to you first for the offer because you've told me what my experience is going to be, versus just add.
That's right. And Glenn and I are working with Catherine Alexander, general manager of Lithia's store, Access Ford in Texas. And once we launched the brand promise, which was FastPass, she was getting calls like 2 days later. Hey, what's the FastPass? And I want the FastPass experience. And how were we getting that out? We were getting that out on their website and social media. And we didn't even start the video campaign. Now, I will tell you that in today's current environment, and many domestic dealers are facing inventory shortages, we have to be very careful. Just as a side note, Google's an important part of a dealer strategy, but loading up all your inventory, especially new car inventory that you know is going to sell in the next 30 days because supply is so limited. I just want to put a side note. Please do not advertise every one of your vehicles in a dynamic VIN advertising campaign when you know that you're going to run out of new car inventory absolutely in the next 30 or 60 days on certain models. Be careful about overspending, just as a little side note. But here's what I want to close on. Today's rethinking local marketing means that remote retailing is here to stay. And what I tried to be very clear about is that merchandising and marketing and how we communicate with customers really is a bigger wraparound. Don't expect your remote retailing company or digital retailing company to be a branding expert or a merchandising expert or to help you with better communications. They have a very simple charter, and that is to make the transaction happen online. There's a lot of other wrappers. So Glenn and I have been testing ideas, and we've been realizing all of the holes that have been missing. And of course, that's helped us plan for the content for DMSC, but also plan for different offerings. And what I want to challenge dealers today, if you resonate with our message, and I really want to, focus on this just a minute, is that I've been working more closely with the team at PCG Digital for a reason, is because I can't travel and I'm not speaking. And I said, let's lean in and let's provide for the dealers who want to lean into remote retailing with an email marketing strategy, a direct mail strategy, a social media strategy, a Google strategy, an OTT strategy. And what Glenn and I have been doing over the last few months is we're helping dealers create this omni-channel approach. And what I'm going to tell you, you may not want to hear it. You're not going to get this through co-op programs, because what you have through co-op programs is Swiss cheese. You have some cheese, but it's filled with holes. And if you really want to have a strong local advertising strategy that's effective, all I can tell you is you need someone to put all the pieces together. And so PCG Digital is now implementing and offering dealers Glenn's and mine resources and our strategies for remote retailing. That is direct mail, email, social media, video for OTT, CRM email templates, merchandising, banners, the whole package. But here's why I'm mentioning this, is there's a lot of dealers that are half into digital retailing and discouraged, or putting their toe into digital retailing and they're discouraged. Well, here's the reason why. It works amazing when you have someone who can coach you, implement, and deliver the whole package. And so I want to encourage you, if you're interested in a robust strategy implemented into a marketing in an omni-channel way, reach out to Glenn or myself or Denise Casagrande at the PCG Digital team. Why? Is because we have a plan for you, a plan that's just amazing. And the dealers who are working with us in this comprehensive remote retailing marketing strategy, which means you have to get off the co-op juice and start taking your business seriously. You have to stop trying to fit square pegs in round holes and get everything working together. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you, you can have 6 or 7 or 8 different people, all co-opable, and no one's pointing out the mistakes on your website. There are so many crappy websites. Why? Don't shoot the messenger, because everyone else is pointing the finger at someone else. Why are dealers not having a brand promise that resonates? Why are they using 30-year-old brand promises? Because no one's willing to tell the dealer it sucks. And if you want real comprehensive change, if you want to take advantage of lower labor costs, better customer satisfaction, and higher profits, well, you need an integrated strategy. So reach out to Glenn and I to talk about that, and we will demonstrate to you what a comprehensive solution can do that's focused on remote retailing. And of course, the best of the best are coming to the DMSE live stream event. Remember, we're bringing the conference to you. There's no excuses. You have 30 days worth of content. After the show, you can go back as many times as you want. Each person's ticket is their own individual login. Only one person can log in with that login at a time, but you have 30 days of content. We have the greatest speakers, greatest dealers, greatest success stories that are going to be shared, and great interactive sessions, networking sessions, and an interactive exhibit hall. You could save money on your ticket by using the code PCG20 when you buy your tickets. Remember, if you buy your tickets in June, you unlock the 3rd day, which includes Glenn's and my most popular online training modules. And if you purchase tickets this week, we have a special bonus. You can pick Swimming with Digital Sharks or Hyper Local Marketing. Glenn, before we end our lunch and learn, what is one thing you have to say to dealers who really want to revolutionize their customer experience? They want to offer something more progressive for their local shoppers. What's one word of advice you have for them?
I would begin, as Stephen Covey would have said from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, begin with the end in mind. Think about what is the experience when someone leaves your dealership. They're done. They've purchased their car. They've serviced their car. They bought their used car, whatever it was. When they leave, how do you want them to feel? That's it. How do you want them to feel? And then work backwards to say, what do we have to do to make them feel that way? Through our processes, through our meet and greets, through our website. So then all of a sudden we start removing. When we do that, we start saying, oh, that on the website doesn't lead to them feeling that way. And that interaction on the phone doesn't lead them to feel that way. All of a sudden, the obstacles become really clear to you, what you have to adapt or remove if you start with how they feel first not what you think they feel.
That is awesome. Awesome. Is there any questions from folks in the live stream? Trish, there's an access code and a discount code. So it's not the access code. Use it as a discount code, PCG20. Okay. The access code is a code to unlock some hidden ticket packages. So if a dealer group wants to have a special price for 5 of their managers, or 10 of their managers, there's an unlock access code. But if you just want the discount, go ahead and as you check out, you'll see that there is a promotion code, okay, and just put in PCG20. Any other questions from our live stream listeners? It's been such a great time. I'm just going to post my email address in the comments here. If you would like to talk about a more comprehensive approach to your modern retail experience, feel free to reach out. I'm going to put in Glenn's. If you had a question for Glenn as well, maybe you like Glenn better. You know, he is the process strategist. I'm the marketing, strategist. Together, we help dealers really develop a comprehensive local marketing strategy that's super efficient. And more importantly, remember that at DMSC this year, it's going to be the ultimate shopping hall. The exhibit hall will allow you at any time during the conference to get demos from any of the vendors real time. You can do back-to-back demos, see case studies, have interactive live video chats with all our exhibitors. Plus, the live networking is so much fun. You can tap anyone and do a quick 5-minute face-to-face video chat. It's kind of like speed dating. So we have that. And don't forget, each night we're going to do virtual wine tasting. Order your wine from Jason Moore. We have a special tasting kit for DMSC. And next week, we're going to be announcing the winemaker for Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, I think we'll be all wined out. So thanks for joining the Lunch and Learn. Share the video with your friends. Glenn, thanks for joining us today.
Came to the office just for this.
All right. Well, everyone, have a great selling week. And don't forget, lock in your ticket to DMSC this week. PCG20 is the discount code, and you'll get to choose between Swimming with Digital Sharks or Hyperlocal Marketing as a bonus gift. Have a great day.
Take care.